let's get straight into it with communicating with others, some tips and tricks that I find use. And these really are just simple little things that I go through. And number one is I really listen. You know, a lot of us do a lot of talking, and I'm in a position where, again, I need to do a lot of talking. However, when I'm listening, I'm listening. And people will often comment that I'm a good listener. And when I ask them, why do you think I'm a good listener? The thing that comes back is that you're attentive. Your eye contact, I'm not scouting the room. I'm not looking around. I'm not looking bored. I really, really am listening. And I'm coming back with, for clarification, all the rest of it. So number one is always make sure that you are really listening, and make sure that the person or people feel that you are really listening. Number two, I often see this happen a lot, is that people will listen and then they'll start beating their friends up, or they'll start giving them bad advice, or they'll be judgmental. So what I really say is, don't beat the person up. At times that can be difficult. However, really make the person feel supported. So number two is all about coming next to the person, about really understanding, making them feel comfortable. Of course, you've got to be authentic. No one's asking to be fake, because nobody wants fake. But as difficult as it can be at times, is certainly don't beat them up. Leave the judgment, and make sure that you are really listening with open ears, without judgment, and with understanding. So number two is all about being understanding. Make sure that you're standing there beside that person, making them feel that you understand. Number three is don't give unwanted advice. Something I often talk about is I'll ask people, what type of advice do you want? Do you want my opinion? Do you want my assessment? But I do ask whether they want the advice, because not everybody wants advice. And something I've learned over the years is sometimes people just want somebody to listen to and somebody to feel compassion, understand, but not necessarily want advice. So once you've listened, once you come from a position of being beside that person and not judging them or being or beating them up as such, ask whether they want advice. So make sure you're not giving unwanted advice. Number four is always check your tone and body language. And this is something I've been caught out in the past, where you think that you're listening and you're being kind and you're being gentle. However, your face is telling a different story, or your body language is telling a different story. I've got a crazy thing that I do when I'm listening, is that I'm actually visualizing what's going on. So at times people think, well, hang on, is he paying attention? Because I could be looking up, and what I'm really doing is I'm seeing, 8 screens and then 6 screens and then 4 screens, and dropping down until I have an answer. So what I do now is I actually explain that to the person. I say, look, I am listening. I'm just visualizing what you're telling me, and I'm making a mental page map of it to come down to give you an answer. So I'm explaining to them what I do, so that they understand that my body language is not coming from a position of being disinterested. Number 5 is keep it real. Authenticity, one of my number one values. And this is something hard. We normally get caught in cliches. It'll be okay. No, it's not your fault. I try and stay away from the cliches and keep it authentic. Keep it real. If I'm in a position where someone's telling me something that I don't believe is that they're right or they feel, I navigate accordingly. I don't give bad advice. I'd rather give no advice. I constantly ask that question. So these tips all work alongside of each other. 1, really listen. 2, make sure you come from a position of being beside them. 3, don't give unwanted advice. 4, always check your body language and tone. And 5, be authentic. Which obviously is a combination of the above as well. And number 6, remember, it's not about you. And we all do it. We always take things personally. Our initial reaction will always be personal. That's probably innate in all of us. And I think the key here is to be conscious that you're constantly reminding yourself that it's not about you. It's the person that is speaking, and it's their forum. They're holding the forum, and you're there to add value to them. So one of the tips I always do from the start is that I always sort of set boundaries. I set parameters and boundaries up from the start. So is what you're telling me confidential? Is what you're telling me something you want me to just listen to, or is it something that you want me to give advice on? So normally setting in what they call framing the conversation up from the start works best. So the ability to frame it also sets expectations. What is it that you want to achieve from this discussion? What is it that you want to achieve from this conversation? So that you're setting the boundaries, you're setting the framework, and you're making sure that, you know, you're getting something from it, that they're getting something from it. This is the way that communication